You already know it's not going to happen. You've told yourself 100 times. You've had the conversation in your head where you talk yourself out of it. You know the logic. You know the reality. You know exactly how this ends. And yet, when they walk into the room, every single time, something inside you ignites. Why? Why does your brain keep doing this to you? Why do you keep wanting someone who isn't available, isn't interested, or simply will never choose you, no matter how much of yourself you pour into the idea of them? The answer isn't what you think. And once you hear it, you will never look at attraction the same way again. Let's start with what's actually happening in your brain the moment you become drawn to someone unavailable. Your brain releases dopamine, but not in the way it does with someone who likes you back. When someone is available and interested, when the outcome is certain, your brain gets a steady, predictable release of dopamine. Comfortable, warm, but not overwhelming. When someone is unavailable, your brain gets something completely different. It gets the dopamine of uncertainty. Neuroscientists have discovered that the human brain releases significantly more dopamine in response to unpredictable rewards than predictable ones. This is called variable reward reinforcement, and it is the exact same mechanism behind slot machines, social media likes, and gambling addiction. The person who might text back, the person who sometimes seems interested and sometimes seems distant, the person you can't quite read, your brain is not just attracted to them, your brain is addicted to them. In the most literal, neurological sense of the word. You are not weak, you are not pathetic. You are a human being with a brain that was designed to obsess over uncertainty. But it goes even deeper than that. There is something called scarcity psychology. When something is rare or hard to obtain, your brain automatically assigns it higher value. This is why a painting in a gallery feels more precious than the same image printed on your phone. This is why a restaurant with a waiting list feels better than one with empty tables. The person who will never choose you is the rarest thing in your world, because you cannot have them. And your brain has decided that anything this difficult to obtain must be worth everything. It has built them into something they may not even be. Here's the part that will genuinely disturb you. Studies show that the less someone reciprocates your feelings, the more mental space they occupy in your mind. The more they pull away, the more intensely you think about them. The less they give, the harder your brain works to fill in the gaps. Imagining conversations, imagining futures, imagining versions of them that may not even exist. You are not falling for who they actually are. You are falling for the person your brain invented in the silence they left behind. Every unanswered message, every moment of distance, every time they didn't choose you, your brain filled that space with a fantasy so vivid, so detailed, so emotionally real, that it became more powerful than any actual relationship you've ever had. You fell in love with a story, and you wrote every word of it yourself. And now, for the part that changes everything. The reason this keeps happening, the reason it's always the unavailable one, always the wrong person, always the one with no chance, is not bad luck. It is not a pattern you stumbled into. For many people, emotional unavailability feels familiar, not comfortable, familiar. There is a difference. If you grew up having to earn love, having to work for attention, affection, or approval, your brain learned early that love is something you chase, not something you receive. So when someone makes you work for it, something in you recognizes that feeling. It feels like home, even when home was never safe. The person who is easy to love, who is available and kind and consistent, they feel unfamiliar, and your brain translates unfamiliar as unexciting, as not enough, as somehow less than what you deserve. So you go back to the chase, back to the uncertainty, back to the one who will never choose you, not because you don't deserve better, because part of you hasn't fully believed yet that better is something you're allowed to have. That is the real reason, not chemistry, not bad luck, not being broken, a brain that learned to associate love with longing, and hasn't been shown yet that love can also just be easy. The first step to breaking the pattern isn't finding the right person, it's recognizing that the feeling of certainty, of someone actually choosing you consistently without games, doesn't feel boring because it is boring. It feels unfamiliar because you haven't had enough of it yet. Give it time, give it a chance. And slowly your brain will learn that the most extraordinary thing in the world isn't the person who keeps you guessing, it's the person who never makes you wonder. See you in the next one. And if this just explains something you've never been able to put into words, subscribe to Mind in the Dark. Every week, we go into the parts of your mind that nobody talks about. Don't miss it.